So in this video, we are going to be on packet page 3. So you can have that up as a reference. So you can be looking at the problems. Okay, the link is right on Schoology, right under the task that has the entire package of the PDF. So you can have that up and looking at it. So on this task, we're going to do numbers 1 and 5, and then you'll do the remaining 6 as your task that you'll do. So there's two things that we're going to do with each of these. We're going to graph the equations, and then we also are going to tell the transformation that occurs. So identify the transformation first. So we have a +1 in the exponent in number 1. And you can just do these, even though we're doing graphs, you can do them right on line paper. We'll just make sure you make a scale when you go to plot them. So we've got a +1 in the exponent, so that's going to be a shift left 1. So based on any shifts left and right, that will tell us how to set up our t-table, because we don't want to get values that are too crazily huge. So because it's shift left 1, instead of having 0 be the middle of our table, we're going to have -1 be the middle of our table. So let's make a t-table. We'll have x and y. And again, the -1 is in the middle because we had a shift left 1. So based on your shift left or right, that tells you what the middle value is. If there's no shift left or right, then we'll just do 0 in the middle and pick two values on either side. So once we've done that, we can go to a graphs page and we'll do 2 raised to the x plus 1. Okay, remember, if you don't have your calculator, if your calculator has died at this point, you can go to desmos.com, DESMOS.com, and there's a free online graphing calculator there. You can use that to help you out. So we'll go to our table, and we wanted -1 to be our middle value. So we're going to work with these ones here. If they're nice decimals, you can use those. Sometimes they may not be as nice. So if it doesn't terminate, we would need fractions. So we can do either 0.25 and 0.5, or this would be 1/4 and 1/2. Then we got 1, 2, and 4. So we'll fill those in. We got 1/4, 1/2, 1, 2, and 4. So on your paper, go ahead, draw an XY axis. So on your x's, we just need to scale out -3 into 1. On y's, notice we just have to go up. We need to make sure we can get up to 4. And we'll label our x and y axis. So we're going to have -3 and 1/4, so pretty low. We'll have -2 and 1/2, -1 and 1, 0 and 2. Oops, I plotted that one too high. And then 1 and 4. And then we're going to draw it in with a nice smooth curve. Okay, it should not be going down beyond the x-axis. It just rides along it. And then we will label our equation. Y equals 2 raised to the x plus 1. Okay, and that's what we're going to do for each of these. So first, tell your transformations. You can use what we had written down in task 18 from the video to help you with that. Make your table. Again, the middle value of your table should be based on the shift left or right. We were shifted left 1, so we had -1 in the middle, and then pick the two values on either side of -1. Go to your graphs page, put in the equation, and get the y values. Plot those points, make sure you got arrows, label your equation, label your xy axis. So 2, 3, and 4 are really similar to that. So we're going to look at one of the fractional ones, so we're going to look at number 5. So the first thing is, if you have a fraction, that's the same as saying 2 to the -1. So any of the fraction ones will automatically have a reflection over the x-axis, because that's like having a negative in the exponent. And they wanted us to compare it to 2 to the x, they said in the directions. That's why we have to have that negative that we have to consider. If they were just comparing it to 1/2 to the x, well, then we'd only have to worry about the shift. So this one in number 5, we have a reflection over the x-axis, and then the -1 in the exponent is also a shift right 1. So the 1 is in the middle. Pick the two values on either side, 0, -1, and 2, 3. And we'll make our t-table with the x and the y. And then we'll go to a new graphs page. So we'll have a half raised to the x minus 1. And we'll do our control T. The 1 was our middle value this time, so we'll put that in the middle. So the whole idea of kind of shifting the middle is so the numbers don't become too small or too big, which would make it hard to plot. So we're going to have 4, 2, 1, a half, and a fourth. So draw your XY axis. Put in a scale. Again, X's we only have to go -1 to 3. Y's we're only going up to 4, so you don't have to make too many markings. We got -1 a fourth, 0, 2, 1, 1, 2 a half, and 3 a quarter. I'm going to redraw that curve. My curve wasn't great. Make sure you got arrows on the ends, and make sure you label your equation. So in 6, 7, and 8, make sure, because those all have fraction ones, make sure one of your descriptions should be the reflect over the y-axis, and then whatever shifts you might have going on in addition to that. So to get full credit for these on 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8, you need to tell the transformation, have your t-table in your graph. On your graph, make sure you label your equation, have arrows, and label your x and y axis. Take pictures and then upload that to Schoology.